Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to this free download on how to create white space or some mental space in your life so that you can start to hear your own spiritual guidance coming to you. Now, when I say the word spiritual guidance, I mean, so let's define it, right? I mean, it's actually your intuition, right? So when we pray, in our usual salah or your prayers, and when we make dua and we say, oh dear God, like help us with a particular situation or a circumstance to change, or we want to see an improvement or some ease in our life, right? Usually once we make an ask, Allah then wants to give us an answer or get us on the path so we can get that ease in our situation. I can feel like the skylight. Look at this. The lights shifting in the house. So when you are, when you have done the prayer and now you have to listen for the response, I find that we're not very good listeners, and that's why we miss the guidance that's actually coming to us, because we haven't been trained on how to carve out like cave time or white space so that we can hear it, because we have such full busy lives these days, and then every time we have a spare moment, we're actually glued to our phones, right? We'll take maybe Facebook or Instagram and then start scrolling. So even when we have a quiet 5 minutes or 10 minutes, a baby is napping, like my baby is napping right now, and I chose to create this video because this is some time that is opened up for me that I wasn't planning on, right? So I knew that I had to do this project. I just slotted it in the context of baby asleep, 4-year-old at kindergarten, time opened up, right? And I knew this video might take me about 10 minutes, right? And I have a little bit of time before I go to kindergarten and pick up my son. So it's kind of looking at your day and looking at the structure of your day and your life, because depending on, who you are, whether you're a mom or if you're single or you're a student, depending on your life, you have different contexts. Part of me being a mom who has one kid at school, one at kinder, but he's not always at kinder every day, right? So I have some days where I have 2 little kids at home while my older boy, who's 7, is in school, right? So I need to know, like, what are my contexts in the day? So some of my contexts are, I'm in the car to and from school pickup. That happens twice a day in my household during the 5 days of the week. Then I have contexts like, oh, baby is napping and I don't have an older kid in the house, right? So that gives me some quiet space. I could choose to, in that time, do some journaling or just sit with myself quietly so I can listen to what's going on in my consciousness, what I am being guided to do in that moment. And sometimes your intuition might be like, go and wash that hijab. Go hand wash that hijab because you have some quiet time. I'm like, I don't want to do that when my kid is sleeping. I could do that when they're around. But sometimes when you just trust that the next right step is really what you need to be doing whilst I'm hand washing my hijab in the sink, because my hands are in water, because I am in flow, I am really surrendering to that activity, I access this flow state or presence. And in that moment, it's a beautiful time for my soul, for Allah's guidance to come through in that moment and give me the next right step. So whilst I'm doing that activity, I might get a voice that says, oh, remember that project that you wanted to do with the website? Make this little tweak. Like I might have something that subconsciously was bugging me that I've asked Dua about. The answer might come while I am actually, following my guidance moment by moment. And it will drop in when I am just very present, not thinking about a bunch of things, because you can't do this thing with your mind. Your intuition is like your intuition. It's just very spot on. It says, do this. And it's usually a really quiet voice. And it never needs to justify itself. It won't tell you why and how. It just says, do this. Call this person. Go onto the internet and type this. Go and check out that course, or go for a walk. And you know what? When you go out for a walk, you might bump into someone who is a neighbor or a friend, or you might have the next inspiration come to you to say, oh, phone a friend. And whilst you're talking to that friend, again, she might give you a little clue. as to what the next piece of your journey is. So do you get the gist of it? It's really about surrendering moment by moment to the guidance that you're getting. And you cannot do that when this becomes your waking reality. Like every time you have a spare moment, trigger finger, like you have to click and scroll, and you don't know what it's like to have white space. Remember the Prophet ﷺ, when he would actually have this routine thing of going to Mount Hira and having his cave time. That's when Angel Jibril, on one of those occasions, actually came to him with revelation, right? So our souls can be revealing to us of what our next step is and the directives it wants us to, take next, the changes it wants to make next. But whether it's, I want you to pick up your family and move to another country. Like it might be as specific as that, and now you have to like talk to a spouse or talk to your family and say, I really feel called that this might be our next step. Could we explore this? So there's always action steps once a vision is kind of given to you. And it could be big, it could be small, but you need to train yourself. I feel like we already do, we have this gift naturally. It's just that the way society is working these days, it's like we've lost access to this birthright of ours, which is to access our guidance. And Allah, is not going to intervene unless you ask. So you have been asking. You probably have been making dua and asking for things. But the reason you might not see those duas manifesting is because you haven't then created white space in your life to listen, because you are distracting yourself, or there might be a lot of emotional drama in your life that you're not having a boundary around keeping out, because that stuff really can cause you to get very much in this emotional state. And then again, you sometimes lose access to that presence, which is you're fully present in the moment. Your senses are awake, your eyes, you're seeing, you're hearing, and then you start to sense with your heart. And you just become a person of deep reflection. And when you can think in those moments about the changes that you want to make and your intuition is speaking to you, your life becomes quite a beautiful, magical masterpiece, because it's like Allah is guiding your life to where He sees that you are going to make the highest contribution to yourself, to your family, to society. And when you can meet your needs by having that quiet without always bombarding it with stuff from the outside, that is when you can then, once you have these reflective moments, you take the action that those reflective moments give you. And sometimes the action might be a little 10-minute exercise of talking to someone, enrolling in a class, just taking the next right step, right? So I hope that helps you in terms of how to create white space in your life and how your intuition might actually speak to you. So remember, as a wrap up, she does not shout, right? It's a very quiet voice. Now, she might shout if you happen to be in a very critical condition where there's maybe an accident happening, and she says, grab your child and run, and it's like a really loud trying to get your attention. But very often in our everyday moments, it's not a very loud voice, right? Which is why we can often miss it, because everything else is loud, because we have all of these unopened mail in our mailbox, which is like pinging on our energy and saying, you haven't attended to this, or you have another project there that's half done and you haven't completed it. So our brain is taking up a lot of space with all of those open projects that we haven't put a bookmark in and closed it and saying, I will get back to that when I have project time. So we don't have a structure in our lives that is supporting us to be able to have that quiet and that connection with our soul. So if this is something you want to learn more of, I invite you to set up a time to talk to me so we can look at perhaps what is causing all of this noise in your life and actually eliminate that. Because for you, the noise that you're experiencing, the cause might be different from another woman sitting next to you. And we need to be able to identify that cause. And you probably already know what that cause is. Our job is to try and eliminate that as much as possible, so that the more space you have with yourself, with you and your soul, and that real connection to yourself, that is when you're able to start to make changes in your life that will take you where like Allah wants you to be in your life, right? So I hope that helps. If the next right step for you is, going through that checklist and then going, you know what, I do want to talk to you, Nadara, in a 30-minute phone call. I would love to speak with you one-to-one. It's my absolute best thing about being in business, to be able to have conversations with amazing women who are up to great things. And we just need to eliminate some of those things that are getting in your way that maybe you're not aware of, but that those things will come up in conversation so that you're able to look at it and go, you know what, I'm ready to make this change. And I just need some other guide by my side to look at it. And for some of you, you might not want to do that right away, and that's okay as well. Just enjoy the learning and let me know how you go. Like, connect with me on Facebook. If you're not already there, you can find me at Conscious Woman in Business. That's my page. I also have a Facebook group called Conscious Career Moms, where I do Facebook Lives in there as well. So you can just come be in my energy. And you might already be friends with me on Facebook, Nadara Raza, on there. So however we connect and our paths cross, I wish you well. Assalamu alaikum, and have a wonderful rest of your day and your week whenever you're watching this.